right, cold open question of the week. Aldi.
Yes. Yes.
A new year in SWGOH is upon us. Care to share your SWGOH New Year's resolution with me? If you have one. I know a lot of people think New Year's resolutions are lame. I'm sort of like that in real life. I'm like, if you get a problem, just fix it. But what in SWGOH? If you need a moment to think, I can give you mine.
No, I would. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you mine, and then I'd love to hear yours. Me, I want to have more fun. For a long time, for certainly the last couple of years, I've been farming what the game told me to. I really want to kind of put more relics on the characters I love, some of which are still at like R5. I think my Womp is now at R6, but I'd love to take him up to R8. There's characters I love in the game that I love using that are not high enough for me. So I want to take up the ones I enjoy rather than the ones I'm asked to.
Right. And I can certainly echo that, because just yesterday, I was sitting in my car waiting for my son's music lesson to finish, and I just took a look at Ayla, and I'm like, what's preventing me from just putting some gear on her? She was like, gear 7. I'm like, all this gear is super cheap and like it's easy to get now, and I've got hundreds of it. Like, let's just do it. So she's gear 12 now, and I just got to put the cryotech on her. But like stuff like that, where like Ayla's not going to break the bank, and she's a cool Jedi. So,
and for me, it's some of the older tanks. Those are the ones I don't have, like SD Han, I think I take at some point to G12, but there's one or two of the older tanks that occasionally get a datacron and suddenly become really valuable. So yeah, more on those.
Yeah, and my other resolution, just very quickly, is getting my fleets in order. My fleets are so far behind now because I took time off. So about to start farming Executor. I've got Boba to do 2 more relic levels, then I'm ready to start that farm. So get my fleets in order.
Is that one of the ones that unlocks at 5-star?
I think so, yeah. And then you have the slow, arduous glacial drip to get it done. So hopefully they change that, and I was able to get it done a bit faster. All right, we got a lot to discuss here, guys. The Geocean Lightspeed bundle hit. Bonus drops are active. And our first ever game mode review. Hope everyone had a happy new year. And let's stick around and start the show.
Ignite your passion and embrace the glow of the Holotables.
This is it!
Broadcasting live just beyond the Dune Sea, we join the heartthrob of the Outer Rim, UrzZz.
Hello, what have we here?
Welcome to Love on the Holotables, an absolutely unremarkable yet ridiculous Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
It's a trap!
It's time to lock those S-foils in a chill position and head on down to the big Holotable for all the latest action.
This is Red 5, I'm going in.
Well, hooty hoo, and a big hello from me to you. My name is UrzZz, and I'd like to welcome you all back to Love on the Holotables. And today we're joined by a very special guest, a true international man of mystery, if you will. Seriously, every time I talk to him, he's on a different continent. But not only that, he's been a longtime SWGOH content creator, streaming his GACs on Twitch. It's Aldous Sandfly. Aldi, how are you?
Hi, I am honored to be here. This is such an honor. I'm super nervous. You created Performance GAC, and I have stolen so much from you, and I look forward to learning how to do a proper podcast from you over the next hour.
Oh, gosh, stop it. Well, for me, guys, he's so much more than just a SWGOH content creator. He's actually a man outside of SWGOH in the community for a lot of us. He's always been a party to my Let's Plays I've done on Twitch. He's just participated in Among Us. We did Among Us at the end of last year. And then Fall Guys, he's always there on community nights. An absolute just community gem. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. I know it's nice to you talk about doing different things and variety.
Things. Yeah.
It is amazing. It is amazing to be able to take part in these. And I'm generally terrible at most of them, but if you go at these things with your heart, you go at these things with your heart.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. You're pretty good at Fall Guys, actually. All right. Well, let's talk news. Let's talk SWGOH Galaxy of Heroes. And the news is, guys, there is still no news. But I did see Meathead go live yesterday, so I think we're close to being back in the office. He's certainly back from wherever he was. So that's got to lead one to assume that hopefully this next week we start hearing a little bit of news. And if they're going to keep their schedule for marquees, it's going to start this next week, right?
Yeah, should do. I don't know. They're a little bit because they're starting this new Eras episodes thing. I guess is a little bit of a play whether they start it on week 1 or week 2.
Yep.
I guess we give them a little bit of a break. They never really discussed the kind of the round Christmas 4 weeks off that they tend to take. So, but yeah, I do think Meathead has his crayons out and he's working on a road ahead at the moment.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah. So what we have is pretty scarce in sort of news, but we're going to talk. Our big conversation today is going to be game mode review. We'll get there in just a second, but we had a new Lightspeed bundle drop. It was a Geonocean bundle. This came out of nowhere, I believe. My Geos were trash. I think they were Gear 5, Gear 6, across the board. Never farmed them up. Never worked on them. For $15, you get all the Geos at Relic 3. I bought this immediately, and that was one of the old factions that I just never touched, and now it's all Relic 3 for $15. So, how are your Geos? Did you, your Geos are probably long since done.
Well, I mean, my Geo, yeah, but what a boost to your ships.
Yes.
Like the Geonosian, the bugs and those spy and those ships for separatists are so valuable for GAC. They're so valuable for the game because you really need them.
Yeah.
They are.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. I didn't even think of that until after I got them, but I was just like, I am. This is probably the longest farm I've ever done. The Malevolence farm. I started back before I left the game, and I am 13 shards away from finishing my Malevolence to 7 stars. So this came at just like the perfect time. All I have to finish up now is my Hyena Bomber, and then I'm good to go here. So, yeah, perfect timing for me, and very fortunate that this is all Relic 3.
Yeah, like a sneaky, valuable Lightspeed bundle.
Yeah.
Often we talk about Lightspeed bundle because of the characters you get, but this is coming with pilots, and therefore it has an added value to it that I think a lot of people might miss. But yeah, I mean, I already had them at Relics, but I think it's a super important one.
Yeah, I'm just sort of looking at the amount of Lightspeed bundles that have dropped in this last year, and I'm like, they're gonna like I'm gonna run out of Lightspeed bundles to buy. I caught back up so quickly, like with a lot of this stuff. I mean, outside of Fleet, I think Fleet's really going to be my Achilles heel here. But the amount of Lightspeed bundles I purchased this last year, I've probably spent $200 or $300 in Lightspeed bundles. But my roster has gone up, 3 million GP in like 4 months. That's like crazy.
I'd really love for them to make an announcement on the cadence of these Lightspeed bundles, because they appear, then they disappear, but nobody knows if they're ever coming back or whether they're going to be, so there's still a sort of confusion. So yes, there's a FOMO, you buy it or you miss it. It'd be nice for them to actually come out to say, look, we plan on all the Lightspeed bundles, we plan on giving them back every 6 months, or just giving us an indication on that would be interesting.
I see. I think the way, like, they're smart as a business, right? Because Arnold made the point. He's just like, this should just go into a Lightspeed shop, and if you want to go get the bundle, you go get the bundle. But they're gold, right? They're a corporation. They're gold. They have metrics they have to hit. So that is very much like, let's bring out the big guns when we have to, prove that we can make money. So I don't think we're ever going to see this stuff as just static bundles in store. They're going to keep using it as just like, we got numbers to hit for our stakeholders. Makes
sense.
Yeah. All right. Next one we have here is bonus drops active right now. We got Keller Impact on light side nodes, Paz Vizsla on dark side, and IG11 or IG12. I think he's in maybe Cantina. I'm not sure. Zeta's on all of this stuff. If you have it all done, you have. We mentioned off stream. You have this all done already, yeah?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so I'm getting Zetas, which always welcome to come in because you're farming Cantina pretty much all the time for the relic levels and stuff. So yeah, how are you finding the characters?
This is all super beneficial because I was like sort of blown away by like how far along some of these, like whenever this like bonus shards come up, like I had like I think last time bonus drops came around, it was like Cal, it was like one of the Inquisitor sisters, the big one, and then it was I don't know, something else, and like I went to go activate some of this stuff for Conquest, and I was like, oh wow, I already have a lot of these guys already at like 4, 5, 6 stars, and it's just like I did nothing. other than participate in bonus drops. So that's sort of nice if you're a returning player to get some of these shards pretty quick. Keller and Beck, I see quite a bit in I'm starting to see him in Grand Arena a little bit. See him in Conquest. He seems to be pretty good. He's got a good. Is it Ami is it TW or is it JAC?
He's got it's TW. I think he's Ami. He's a good character. I think he's TW Ami. I think. He's okay. He's dropped off a little bit in JAC since he lost his Datacron.
Oh yeah,
but there's so many characters like him that are one Datacron off being a nightmare team to face. I think the other two that you're getting, those I presume head towards Bo-Katan, Mandalore.
Mm-hmm. So that's Paz and IG-12. I have no idea what either one of these guys do.
She is incredible. Like Bo-Katan is a hard counter for Lord Vader, but she can also take down so many other GLs and so many other the dark side teams. So Bo-Katan, Mandalore, and those drops in particular, hyper valuable. I would say to any player, head for Bo-Katan, Mandalore rather than Lord Vader, because you're getting the counter rather than the GL. But yeah. So
and does Paz and IG-12 both fit in that team, or is it a different makeup for that counter?
Paz does.
Paz does.
IG-12, is that the one with the Grogu?
Yeah, inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them are in the team the entire time. Yeah, and you'll also use Bo-Katan Mandalore on one of the ROTE missions to kill the Crate Dragon, I think. So that's also valuable for your guild, but you'll need Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. But look, it all kind of ties together. I don't want to, but yeah, hyper valuable and good of CG to give us kind of more modern characters. It's good. It's good to see.
Yeah. It just seems like such a stark difference. Back when I played, it was just like, oh, here's shards for, they always would jokingly do Clone Wars Chewie, but it would be like characters, here's Doth Shed shards, and it's just like, I've had Doth Shed done for 8 years now. That helps nobody. It's like Galactic War character shards. Everybody has all that stuff. So this is actually relevant characters, and that's exciting for me because that's stuff I need. Okay, let's jump into game mode review. Now, I crafted some rules here, Aldi, for us. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all the game modes, sort of talk about each one, and we're going to place them into different categories. And the categories are, what are we fixing? What, in terms of what we think it's kind of broken and it's not very enjoyable. What are we upgrading? What are we scrapping altogether? What are we continuing as is? And the last question here is, what new game mode are we making? And I've noodled on this one, and I sort of sprung this one on in right before the call. So I've got a really fun thing that I think would be awesome, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So out of all the game modes, Conquest, TW, TB, GAC, Galactic Challenges, which one of those are we fixing? I have an idea of what we're fixing, but I want to see if your head goes to the same place.
It would be GAC or TW.
Yes. Go ahead.
I have to say I'm not a big TW guy, but I do feel it's the one that probably needs fixed first. But GAC would also be those. I'm sorry to pick two, but those would be the ones I would.
No, those are the two that I would put in this category as well. What are we fixing? I think is more of a TW thing, because I think GAC, for me at least, GAC is in a much healthier place than TW. The amount of end-game griping I hear about TW, about how the board is too small, nothing's changed, no one has more time, so you can't make it bigger. There has to be something that goes into fixing that and making it more enjoyable for the people that actually play the game. And then you have what's crazy for me is I don't find TW all that unenjoyable. I just think it fires a little too frequently. But other than that, I don't know. I find it's, maybe if you're in an in-game guild, it's more annoying because you have to take it a bit more seriously, since there's droid brains tied up in there and things like that. But I don't know. It does need fixing, and it does need looking at it, because all the in-game players I talk to seem to feel the same way about it.
Are we postulating how I would fix it? I'd love to see TW. over 2 hours.
2
Like,
hours. See,
it's
that
a
would be
2 hour
tough to
attack
schedule.
window. Well, I know,
Ooh.
but you as a guild get to pick your 2 hours,
Ooh,
right?
that would be...
So you pick your 2 hours, and you just pick it to suit the people you want, and you attack for 2 hours, and that would be it. And then it gives everybody 22 hours off. People don't need to wake up early in the morning or go, I'm going to check it at 4 in the morning just to make sure nobody's doing anything. We don't open a new zone. It would just kind of like keep it more as a speed event, and
That's
everyone
not a bad
can come
idea.
together more. I think just liven it up a little bit, something like that.
You know, I was sort of against. I think they're Freebot made the point last week about appointment gaming. They're trying to get away from appointment gaming. But I get your point though, because there's times where I want to contribute to TW. I want to do something in TW. I can't. I don't have any of the counters. I can't move the zone physically. I can't do anything. So then I'm stuck coming back 4 or 5 hours later, checking the zone. Coming back 3 hours later, checking the zone. It's like to babysit. That is obnoxious about TW. And if they could fix that and make it just very quick, maybe you're onto something there, man. That's actually a pretty good idea.
I'd either make it very quick or very slow, but remove that need to open your phone every 3 or 4 hours just to check. I suffer the worst because one of the reasons I don't do TW very often or at all is because I'm in the UK and I'm with an American guild, and therefore the speed that they're attacking at, or when they're attacking a lot, I'm asleep. And I used to be in Singapore, so it was very similar. And I would wake up and then I'd have missed out on attacking because they would have cleared the zones I had counters for and things like that. So yeah, but if it had been 2 hours, I could have woken up at whatever time, given it 2 hours and said, right, I'm going to stay up for these 2 hours because I want to compete in this. And yeah.
How did old raids work? I'm trying to remember. Old raids were 24-hour clocks. Is that what it was? But the moment a phase cleared, it was just like you had to be around for when the phase was active. Yeah.
Yeah, they were different on phases versus, some of them were straight raids, I think, and then one of them was, I think, 36 hours once.
Yeah, that may have been the 6th triumvirate raid. Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to remember if I even enjoyed that. I do remember having to like camp the phase, like the moment the phase would clear. If you weren't there for when it cleared, like you could totally miss out on a phase, and then you were missing out on rewards. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to go there, but yeah.
You had to do the Sith raid with 2 phones. Like the first time I ever did the Sith raid, I had 2 phones because I had to have the game where I'd done my 3 million and I had a different device where I was able to hear Discord saying, right, can you deploy your 3 million? And then I had to log back into the phone and put myself off airplane mode to put in the 3 million. But then if I was told not to, then I would just,
my God,
like it was that.
yes.
Like,
I forgot about that. Yeah, airplane mode. Oh man,
it was awful. But of course,
disgusting.
you were airplane mode on your phone, so you then had to communicate. It was a nightmare. It was just, but it's what you needed to do to max out the Sith raid.
Yeah,
anyway.
That sounds gross. Okay, so that's what we're fixing. We both agree TW could use some fixing. For upgrading, what are you upgrading here? For me, this is GAC, but you go ahead.
Yeah, probably GAC. I mean, it's hard to care about the other stuff. I mean, it's like you've got TW and GAC are up here, and then for me, there's stuff down here.
Yeah, I think we're of the same mind on that as well. That's why I think GAC upgrading is an interesting conversation. A lot of the end-game players sort of complain about it takes too long. I don't know. We're both live streamers. We both live stream on Twitch. Long is usually good for us. So, selfishly, I think it's fun. I'd actually just maybe if we're gonna upgrade it, we're gonna change it. Maybe we have a zone of 3s with 5s, something like that. Something a little bit different to spice it up. Maybe we have like a weird fleet thing with 3s. Like remember, maybe we do like a fleets in 3s or something. I don't know. There's a ton of things they could do.
I love the picks and bans one they did. I know everybody hated them for it, but a long time ago, about 5-6 years ago, they did one where they remove like about 20% of the characters for everyone.
Yeah.
And therefore, you suddenly saw different compositions because you no longer had cat.
No,
So
yeah.
you had to. It was good.
I remember
loved it.
that was with TW, I believe, but still the idea
TW,
would be
okay.
that still would be great here because I'm already starting to see that. It's a great point you bring up because I see it now where I'm like, okay, well, JMK's on defense. I have my Jedi Knight or Jedi Master Luke counter that I've practiced 1,000 times. So it's like automatically going to go there. So it sort of removes the ability to be creative and fun with your teams. And certainly I can show some self-restraint and be like, oh, well, let me try something different this time. But it's very difficult. I'd rather just be forced to try something different because then it makes everybody a little more exciting, right?
I'd love to do like a light side, dark side, light side, dark side.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Or like light side plus like Chrysanthemum, like the Hut Cartel that are dark. You know, like there's 2 or 3 teams that sort of have crossovers. So I'd allow them in both. But, you know, that sort of light side and then dark side. And occasionally I will do like a light side defense in GAC and attack only with dark side. Then the next round I'll do it the other way around just for fun, just because it keeps you using people you don't normally use, people you're not always on defense. It keeps it fun.
Yeah, and, you know, there's things like I was forced to, you know, not forced. That's the wrong word. Dakov's going to kill me. I was asked nicely to Relic 8 my Hoth Rebel soldier. And I'm like, there's just so many other better tanks to, like, run out there. But if I could find a way to use that guy and enjoy the investment that I put in, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad, and maybe it would be fun to do. So, I don't know. There's things like that that I think that would definitely benefit from updating the mode a little bit and maybe instituting a ban like you talked about.
How do you feel matchmaking? I think that's where a lot of the gripe is. Like, my normal matches are against somebody that's a million more than me. How have you found it?
So coming back, obviously tanked my account from Kyber 4 to Bronzium, and I was just steamrolling people in Bronzium, made it back up to Chromium. I feel actually like, you know, I'm getting some competitive matches in Chromium. I think I do see a lot of like accounts that have just sort of fallen off where people aren't doing they're attacking and they're just continuing to fall and fall and fall. I don't think you start to see people who take it seriously, like significantly seriously until Rhodium, I would say. Maybe at the bottom end of Chromium, you see people that start to take it a little bit seriously. So I haven't experienced any issues with the matchmaking. And you know, occasionally I'll get hard stopped on fleets. That's happening a little bit now. That's my own fault though for ignoring fleets. And then occasionally I'll get a Datacron that I can't move against. I don't have the tools to deal with it. So there's stuff like that I'll see every now and then. But overall, I feel like I'm getting fun matchups, and I still enjoy GAC. I think GAC still hits for me. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun thing. I mean, like it is a game mode where no matter whether you win or lose, enjoy it. You know, sometimes like you say, I'll get stuck on something. I'll just that's us. I still had a great stream. I still enjoyed my SWGOHs. I just didn't win, but winning is less to me than enjoying the vibe. And
and I would echo that. I thought before I came back to the game, I thought, well, there's just going to be a situation where I'm experiencing it right now, where I'm getting hard stopped on fleets, and I knew this was going to happen, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, we had fun, and we did a bunch of cool stuff, and we ran some intros, and everybody had some drinks, and like it was a great show. So like I think I'm with you. It's like you. And I sort of have the pressure taken off of me because I've been out of the game so long. So it's just like all we can do is have fun because like the time for competitiveness is long over, right? Like it's just have fun with it.
Yeah, have fun. Do fun counters. Don't worry about the banners. I mean, the fact is, if you win, you just get a harder week the week after.
Yep.
I mean, why is that a thing to strive for? Just have fun.
Have fun.
You know, have fun.
All right. What are we scrapping here? And I think you're probably going to go one of two places, but I have my scrap pretty easy here, and for me, you can tell me if you agree. For me, it's TB. I don't like TB, but I know you say for TB, you're basically just deploying and that's it because your guild is so you're in port and they're moving along pretty.
No,
rapidly.
I try very hard. I think is what you mean. I don't know what this man is saying.
No, I apologize.
I try very hard. I don't know. I think TB. This new TB. I think they should remove deploying from TB. Like, so that, you only get credit for doing battles would be better. Because
there's a lot of people in my TB that can't even contribute to battles because the relic levels are so high.
But deploying is massively overpowered in how many points you get versus like doing a battle. I get 10, 11, 12 million points for deploying, but for doing a battle, I get 250,000 or something. It's like, it seems disproportionate. You should get a lot more for putting more effort in rather than just logging in. And obviously, I do all my battles. I just think it's got too broad. There's too many battles. There's too many planets. I think they need to get rid of half the board. I think you should have a light side and a dark side. Get rid of the mix completely. I think they're adding more and more planets on, which is what we don't want.
It's not enjoyable for me at all. I never liked TB before I came back. I think it's even worse now, just because of the high relic requirements. And I hate any game mode where the guild, where there's like very specific instructions and very specific things that have to happen. And, not everybody's engaged at the level of the TB officer. And when things don't go well or someone makes a mistake, it can impact everybody. So I don't like game modes like that. I think TW, unless you're in a gauntlet guild, you're not getting that as much, maybe a little bit, but not as much. It's so boring and just laborious.
It's missed its mark. It's got too many battles. They've expanded it too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the framework they've created, but they've added in like 2 or 3 planets. They haven't taken away any planets. So, please take away 3 planets. If you're going to give me 3 new planets, take away 3. Don't keep expanding it like a gas to fill all the time we have in the universe.
Right, and then that's my other issue with it. The amount of time that you're sort of babysitting it and putting, battles in and deploying and following instructions, the amount of attention you have to give it to TB isn't worth the rewards it provides, I will say. And I think that that's a huge problem for it, especially with your critique that it is expanding and not sort of...
Even just a wee simming button. I mean, why do I need to remod for the third sister that mission, the Inquisitor mission?
Yeah.
Why do I need to remod then for the Jedi Knight Cal mission with Seer? No, why am I having to remod for these? I mean, obviously I do, but I could just hit the sim button.
Yeah, it should just be like, if you've cleared it once, you hit the sim button, you're done. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, so that's my vote for scrapping as well. And what mode are we continuing in as is? I left off raid, but we can talk about raids here as well. And then there's galactic challenges we left open as well. I sort of think Galactic Challenge is just fine the way it is. They retooled it since their Arrows and Episodes update where they removed some feats and made it more marquee feats. I like Galactic Challenges the way it is, and I think it's just fine. It's quick and easy.
Yeah, they work okay. A little bit of forward transparency on, okay, how are they choosing these things and what's their plans going forward, or any of these things, like... We obviously have got Galactic Legend of Ahsoka Tano has joined the game, but isn't reflected in any game mode. So, when does she appear in like a mod farming thing like Jabba or a Galactic Challenge, or where's the other values coming from actually owning her? So I think there's a sort of, it seems a bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment. I would say be nice to see them be a little bit clearer.
Yeah. Okay. And then this one I sprung on you. What new mode are we making? Now I have a very fun idea, but if you have one, let's go with yours first. If not, we can go with mine.
I don't know. I'd love to see them do more with ships, but we don't really have enough ships. But it'd be nice to see them use them more often, practice more ships. I don't know, but yeah, I'd love to hear yours.
Okay. So I was like noodling on this, and I'm like, well, vehicles is too easy. And like a lot of people, we've talked about vehicles ad nauseum on this channel, and what people have over the years. What if they made a mode called Pod Racer? Now, hear me out. Pod Racer, arguably one of the coolest sequences in all of the prequels, if not the coolest sequence. And if you ever play the old Pod Racer game, I'm not asking for a Twitch-based game on a mobile phone. I'm not asking for a game that requires actual manual dexterity. I'm asking for, what if you make this a guild thing? You could even make it a guild thing and you have different heats and whatever. But what if you farm gear for your Pod Racer? Everything from engines to turning to acceleration to the whole deal. Every component of a Pod Racer, you're farming. And maybe you start with the Boonta Eve, and the Boonta Eve has a series of turns, and it has a very specific, threshold of like what's the optimal, the gear for the amount of turns it has, or the amount of straightaways it has, or top speed, or things like that. You could even do things like maybe it's Mos Espa, Boonta Eve, and then it goes to like Hoth, and there's a track on Hoth, and then it has a different set of requirements and a different set of guilds. And then I also think of things like like if we make it like a simulation mode, and we could basically just race against other people in the guild, and then maybe there's rewards and it's just like a simulation, and you just basically upgrade your pod. You could set like the amount of aggressiveness you want on your racer to take, or the amount of conservative, and then maybe there's like modifiers in there for like shortcuts and things like that. Sort of true to what the old Pod Racer game was like. Did you ever play that old game? You know what I'm talking about here?
I know. I watched you play it once on stream, or if it looks amazing. I have played it. It is. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, but it's just so different than what they currently have in games. So
it needs to be different, though. They can't do the same thing.
I'd love a sort of like you say, like some sort of simulated game mode where you just set it up and push go, and then everyone could watch it at the same time and enjoy whatever happens.
You could just watch the replay if you wanted to. But I think my idea with this all is, it's got the construct of not being a Twitch game mode very clearly, but it has the same sort of mechanics of upgrading gear, swapping parts out for whatever track you're on. Maybe I don't think they necessarily put the racers in there. I think you just upgrade your Pod Racer, and that's it. Not the actual person. I don't think there's like Sebulba or Anakin in there, unless
you could upgrade your child slave owner Watto, and get a larger area of pilots available. Yeah. There's more children available for your
Have you ever seen the meme where it's like it's Anakin celebrating, and then it's like the moment you realize your friend just won his freedom, and then it shows the kid in the background. He's like, and then you realize you're still a slave.
I love that scene. I love Watto. Like Watto. Yeah, I love just that whole child slavery. Like what's going on? How is that in a Star Wars film? And like, how can we not have this in the SWGOH? Because I mean, just think of Anyway,
you're your slave.
yeah,
your child slave. Oh, that's
my slave pilot.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Anyways, that's just some random ideas from an old man who enjoyed the pod racing stuff and thinks it needs a little bit more love. All right.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, let me know if you think of anything as we're continuing to go here. We could certainly come back to this question. Conquest recap and GAC. Did you get your red crate, sir?
Yes, even though I didn't need it.
You didn't need it?
Well, I got red crate the first time, and I get the $10 pass thing. So I only needed like gold and gold, but yeah, I got red crate again. Yeah. And I got it with about 5 or 6 days to go, and I've been farming Datacrons, which I now have about 12 at level 9, I think. I've got a lot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finished my red crate this morning. It took me actually
congratulations
2 days longer than the first time, but I did get it done, and felt a little bit pressured today. We got less than a day left on it now. So
well, this one was over Christmas, which I thought was a bit uncharitable.
Yeah, but
Christmas and New Year, it's not a good time to be eating time out. Excuse me, family. I'm going to do 2 hours of battles just over. You know what I mean? Like I think. Yeah, not the best timing.
We watched the Squid Game reality TV show, the Challenge or whatever on Netflix, and I was just slaving away on my conquest while the family was watching it. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I did get it done, and I'm excited that it's done. Hopefully, this next one goes a little bit easier. You have an in-game roster. I don't, so I'm certainly having to. And I even bought the Conquest Pass, and it still was close for me. But yeah, well, we're 2 for 2 on Darkside Ray, and farming my SLKR right now. So he's going to like Gear 12 shortly, and yeah. So hopefully, by the time she comes to the game, he's close to being done, and I'll have it.
I mean, I think that's going to surely be the next meta team, and I feel a little bit sorry for Galactic legend Ahsoka Tano, who's kind of only going to get about two months in the sun before suddenly there's a new thing out there that everyone's scared of that's killing everything. So yeah, it's
I agree. I remember reading the kit on the podcast here, and I was just like, this is nuts, dude. This is going to be just absolute craziness to see this woman work. So excited to see that. So yeah, and then GAC this week, threes is back. Any notable takeaways? How's your GAC going?
Great. Love threes. I love threes. Threes is great. Yeah, threes are going well. I'm practicing Mace versus Leviathan, which I think is one of those vital new counters you need to practice. Being able to take down a Leviathan with a Mace fleet, Mace and Galactic Republic, obviously.
Yep. I've seen the counter video. Yeah.
It is a super valuable one. I still run, I shouldn't say this, but I still run Profundity, Leviathan, and P1, Executor P1 defense. Yeah. So I only have like the lesser fleets for attack, but yeah, it's going really well. Won both pretty easily. Lots of good holds. Bosk, Zami, and Dengar with the Dengar Kron is doing God's work for me. That's great. So yeah, things go well.
Yeah. I've actually lost both of mine, and I got relegated down to Chromium 3. So I'm hitting a point where I'm having a little bit of a challenge, and I'm all right with that. As long as like I'm getting compelling matchups and I'm not just steamrolling people, I'm all right to take my L's until I can get my fleets in order. That's sort of what I've been experiencing right now. So no notable takeaways other than I think I'm starting to put Datacrons on defense now, which is new for me. Just sort of getting back in the water with Datacrons and understanding all that. So farming out my inventory with all that stuff and starting to use a lot of that stuff on defense and a bit more regularly. So that's starting. I'm starting at that point with Chromium, mid-Chromium, where you start to see all that. So exciting times for me.
Very times. I mean, Datacrons do add a huge variation. I mean, teams that originally were very poor get a Datacron and suddenly become a very different animal. And and if it's got the right level 6s, it can slow a performance GAC down because you're having to then check the Datacron, check your Datacron. There's a bit more that goes into it, but yeah, it brings a lot more variety.
Absolutely. All right, community mailbag, my brother. Are you ready for your community mailbag question?
I am. Hopefully, it's easy.
Okay, this question comes in from Lieutenant Chocolate, and he asks, "Dear Aldi, people have declared SWGOH dead multiple times over the past few years, UrzZz included. Obviously, it's still clicking and UrzZz is returned, but what makes it a game somebody should want to invest time, money, and effort into who hasn't before? What's enticing somebody who's getting a targeted ad for the game to say, yeah, sure, I'll download it and try?"
I watched one of the adverts, actually.
I've seen the advert. The one with the girl?
Yeah.
She makes the Wookiee noise, and she's like, let's use Farm Boy Luke. He's got a bullseye ability. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, the adverts are so slick, and they make so I can see you seeing an advert thinking, "Oh, download that," and then you load it up. One of the things that this game does incredibly smart is that at the start, not everything's unlocked. It's a very basic game mode at the start. It's far simpler. I had a terrible experience when I tried to do Marvel Strike Force or something, and there was so many things going on at the start, so many unlocks and stuff. I panicked. Whereas in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, there's very few game modes at the start. You're literally just doing light side, dark side. I think if I downloaded this, I think I would open up. I'd be super excited to see characters I love, like Darth Vader, GMY, I'd be like, oh god, I can farm these.
Yeah.
I think there would be a crash that would come when I realised that these aren't the greatest characters that I could be farming.
Right. Well, I think it's cool to be able to like go look at your roster and be like, what's your favorite character?
The variety. Yeah, the variety. And that's why I always encourage everyone who starts the game, just farm who you want. I know there's paths out there and everyone says, oh, you should follow this. But screw that. Just get the characters you want.
It's good advice.
And love playing with them, because, rushing down a certain prescribed route just means you have the same roster as everyone else. And yeah.
I would love to see the game go back in that direction, by the way, to be like, here's some weird character that nobody has that you put a lot of gear on, then you put all the bells and whistles on him, and it's yours. So I would love to see the game reward that just a little bit more, but that, maybe that time is long gone. But here's the other reason why you would download this game. There is literally nothing else to play for Star Wars. That's the reason why you'd download this game and give it a shot. Because you don't really have a lot of options. I mean, you could
play Hunters for the hour until you got bored of that, and then do something else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hunter's catching a stray from Aldi. Wow.
Sorry.
A reminder to listeners: if you'd like to submit community mail, swing on by the Hall Discord and drop a question in the channel titled "Community Mailbag." I'll be selecting my favorite question each week, so please do participate. All right, everybody, it is the end of the show. What are we at here? We are at 41 minutes. Not a lot of news for me and Aldi. That's okay. I appreciate him. 41 minutes. Maximum firepower is upon us. It's our last segment here where we put our guest in the hot seat and test his mental limits. First, I'll give him 5 SWGOH or Star Wars topics, and Aldi will respond with a short answer that best describes it. We're looking for rapid fire on this one, Aldi, so the first thing that comes to mind, okay? And it's short answer. It used to be one word, but it's short answer now. Next, we'll force our guest to get controversial and finish a sentence that I've started. Lastly, Aldi will have 1 minute to guess a randomly selected character by asking me a series of yes or no questions. And you can't have the game up, so hands up in the air, sir.
I have no chance. I have no chance at that. I'm not, like, Calvin knows these things.
You might have a chance. Okay.
I will try.
Okay. And we'll break all these up. And the best strategy for that last one is just ask about factions and tags, and if that'll help you whittle it down, then you can throw some guesses out. That's my recommendation. All right. Aldi, are you ready?
Yes.
Target, maximum firepower.
Short response. My favorite Clone Wars arc is what story?
General Grievous, never seen it. Never seen Clone Wars.
What? What the hell? Get this man off my Okay, that's fine. Number 2, true or false? Skeleton Crew is coming to SWGOH.
True.
Number 3, should Kathleen Kennedy be fired?
No.
Number 4, my favorite Hall Star Wars intro.
It's the Tusken one. I acknowledge the Tusken one.
Oh, the tribal chief. Okay. Number 5, the amount of money I've spent on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Probably about $2,500.
That's pretty good, man. That's not crazy. All right. So short response for Clone Wars, you said you had not watched it. Why? It's so good.
I've never, honestly, I love only the films, and so I've never seen Clone Wars. I've never seen.
What about live action
Rebels?
stuff? Do you do any of the, you do all the
yeah. So all the live action stuff, but that's come later. I have been meaning to go back, and I said General Grievous because I love his arc. I've learned a lot. I've actually learned a lot about a lot of the characters from SWGOH, and then gone back to work out, hang on, who is that? Why is this guy so cool? And kind of learned a bit about that, but yeah, I've never seen it.
No, I hate to out you like that, but no, that's legit. And I was in the same situation before I started Galaxy of Heroes, and then I was just like, who the hell is F. Koth? Let me go figure out what is going on with this guy. So what's cool about Clone Wars is you get this massive appreciation for a lot of these guys. Like Cad Bane is just the shit, dude, and he's not well represented in the game. That dude took 2 Jedi on at once and handled it. that dude is awesome. So like there's stuff like that where you're like you get a massive appreciation for what some of these guys, what the game doesn't actually appreciate them for. Like, so anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now. True or false, Skeleton Crew coming to SWGOH? You said true. I would agree with that. Have you watched Skeleton Crew?
I watched it a couple of days ago. It's the best Star Wars content in 15 years. I love it. I think it's incredible.
Fantastic. Yes, it is.
It is so good. It is so lighthearted, fun. It's like it's fun. It's fun. It reminds me about when I was 5 or 6 and I first saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same kind of feels, and I love it. I love it. I think it's tremendous.
They talk a lot about Amblin Entertainment and like sort of like Goonies. It's very much Space Goonies, but it does this thing where a lot of shows with kids, little kids, can be cringe at times. This show is not that. This show is just fine. It's not really cringe at all, and it's a lot of fun, and it's just lighthearted, and I look forward to it every week, man. I do.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Tremendous.
All right, Kathleen Kennedy, you said no, should not be fired. Yeah, I would certainly say I'm not happy with her, but Skeleton Crew is trending upward for me. So, thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy?
I don't blame her in isolation for any of the bad things, or give her credit for any of the good things. I think there's a team that works there, and I think I wouldn't fire her. Yeah, I wouldn't fire her.
Okay. Favorite Hall Star Wars intro is the Tusken Chieftain intro. There's 2 Tusken intros, but the chief one, the tribal chief, that took a lot of time. But our friend Nem was the one who he threw $100 at me and said, "Make me a tribal chief intro." So I did. It was a lot of fun to make. I had to download a bunch of I downloaded WWE
skins and you can tell.
It was a lot of time, but someone had already done all the work to make all those skins. So choke slamming Farm Boy Luke, and then jumping off
chase, even the chase used. I mean, it's glorious. It is a glorious intro.
Yeah, it's for those that don't know, where it's very heavy a wrestling intro, because there's the tribal chief is Roman Reigns in WWE, but there's a tribal chief in SWGOH as well. So we have the same music and a lot of wrestling stuff.
If I had to go OG, it would be the Red Lobster one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That one is also just one of my favorites.
Andrew WK, that
yep,
song.
Al Bundy.
Yeah, Al Bundy. All right, the amount of money I've spent on SWGOH, $2,500-ish is what you said, something like that?
I think so. I mean, I have to say, I probably now spend $100 a year, if that. So it's gone down massively, and I probably haven't spent over the last 2 or 3 years really more than maybe the $40 for the $10 pass. Yeah. The only time I've spent recently is I've stocked a load of crystals in my account because it was a crystal deal, because I needed the R9s, because obviously I don't do TW very often. So I need to buy the droid brains, so I have to buy them in crystals. So that's the only time recently.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. Fill in the blank here, sir. So I'm going to read a statement. You're gonna fill in the missing bits here, okay? The single best decision Capital Games ever made with Galaxy of Heroes was ... I have an idea on this one, but I want to hear yours.
Forgetting they accidentally increased it to 8 sims on a node instead of 5 for about a couple of years.
It was 8?
They moved it to 8, and then they forgot about it. And they left it back when Carrie was doing it. It used to be 8 sims on a node instead of the 5. Then about two or 3 years later, they went, we're changing that back now. I
thought it was 3, and then it went to 5, and then they just left it. But maybe I'm misremembering.
No, I'm sure at one point they moved it to 8. But
okay. Well, I'm sure we're getting a SWGOH historian in the comment section here who's going to correct both of us. But let us know, guys. I would say the biggest change that I've noticed is the Gear 12, or the regular gear, purple gear, just the ease of that stuff coming out of just nowhere. Like I'm just like now, like what's preventing me from gearing up all my old characters? We mentioned Ayla earlier. Like I love that change. I love that you can go to Gear 12 on an old character just like in a day, like if you wanted to. It's just like, it's insane. So I do enjoy that about it. And really the only thing that's stopping you is cryotech, and I buy some of the cryotech bundles on Fridays, so that's not a big deal for me either. So I don't know. I feel like the process up to signal data is pretty straightforward. I like it.
You've certainly softened it, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get the clock out here. It is time. I'll give you hints if you're really struggling.
I had a practice. B Cubed, I think, did a practice for me, and it was terrible.
A practice run.
I had a practice run. I had somebody at B Cubed in chat think of a character, and I was terrible. Okay.
Maybe you'll get this one. Maybe we'll get this one. There's not a lot of tags for this, but we'll give it a shot. All right, 1 minute on the clock. Guess the character and go.
Is it light side?
Yes.
Is it a Jawa?
No.
That's Tarzan.
No.
Is it Jedi?
No.
Is it Phoenix?
No.
Is it an Ewok?
No.
Is it Galactic Republic?
No.
Is it Resistance?
No. Think Mandalorians.
Is it a Mandalorian?
It's a Mandalorian.
Is it a leader?
No.
Is it an attacker?
No.
Is it a support?
No.
Is it a droid?
No.
Is it...
10 seconds left.
Is it... I don't...
Time. Okay. So it's a Mandalorian. It's light,
Yeah.
It's light side.
Outside, yeah.
It's not an attacker. It's not a support.
It's
So
not
that-
a leader.
And it's not a leader. So if it's not attacker, not a support, not a droid, not a leader, what do you have left?
Tank.
Tank. Yes, it is a tank.
Okay.
But now your guess. Give me your final guess here.
Okay.
Light side, Mandalorian, tank. Not a droid.
Is it Paz Vizsla?
It's Paz Vizsla.
Oh, how? Okay, you helped. Okay, thank you so much. But
It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard unless
Okay.
you've been on the other end of that. You don't realize how hard it is to try to remember all the factions.
Well, how was everything no? Everything no.
Good job, dude. Good job. I love
Hey,
it.
honestly, it worked with asking leader, support,
Yeah.
attacker. That helped a lot. Actually, I would advise anyone because yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
man. How fun is that?
It was a nightmare. I was quite stressed. Anyway, good.
All right. Well, we're going to get up on out of here. Special shout out to Aldi for joining me. Aldi, do you got any plugs, brother?
Well, welcome to Sandflies on Twitch for JC, and the latest episode of What Is Going On will be on my YouTube channel, Welcome to Sandflies, so check that out.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you joining us, and it was a joy. And,
Thank you so much.
I just want to thank you for being part of the community. You've been a steadfast member of this community for years, and I look for many more years together, brother. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
You can catch me on Twitch 4 times a week with Performance GACs on Friday nights. It's the ultimate Grand Arena party. The Hall Alliance is always recruiting, so let me know if you need a guild. That includes you, Aldi. Just kidding. Follow me on X or come slum it in that squiff hole, better known as the Hall Discord. I'm around. You can find me. And that wraps us up this week. Manifesting you all health, happiness, and the most potent drop rates possible. Please do get to your ship safely. And I'll see you out on them holotables. Good night, everyone.
If you enjoyed this episode of Love on the Holotables, be sure to show your support by liking this content and leaving a comment wherever you get your podcasts. Also, consider joining the best Star Wars community at discord.gg/UrzZz or attending a Hall livestream at twitch.tv/UrzZz. Thank you, and remember, the Force will be with you always.